Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. It is Friday, we have a KSA, and we are joined by the one, the only Colin.
It's me. It is me.
In this area, there are, I guess, technically other Collins, but
Allegedly. None have survived an encounter with me.
Before we jump into questions, we have the very exciting announcement that we have done our dice bag drawing and of our entries. Our winner is our wonderful community member, Liz.
Hey!
Liz not only wins the drawing, but wins bonus points because the set of dice she tweeted at me was made by her.
Oh, that's rad. Good job, Liz.
I feel like that's a real good flex to say my favorite dice set I made.
Put your handmade dice into the handmade dice bag. That's rad.
Oh, nice. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. You win.
So I'll be in touch, Liz, to get your information, and we'll get that headed off to you. Thank you for everyone else who tweeted awesome dice at us. We saw some really cool dice, and we will have more things in the pipeline for future subscription goals. But we are finally in triple digits, so huzzah!
Big things popping.
I think it's delightful.
Big milestone there.
That you just took a swig of something called liquid death.
It's water. it's water. This is like... The motto is murder your thirst.
That's a pretty solid tagline.
Not yet a sponsor, but feel free to hit me up.
Available. Thoroughly available. Yeah. Yes.
Fully open. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have questions because this was a pretty big POG episode. Yeah.
Was I in this one?
So these kinds of episodes where y'all are kind of split up doing different conversations, it's really hard to figure out who needs to be on the KSA because there's usually something substantial from each person. It was really tempting to bring Colin in last week, but I knew this was coming up and so held off because this was sort of the second half of the apology arc as POG attempts to patch things up.
I'm in my repair phase.
And speaking of that, so this involved a big reveal of POG's backstory, and we have a couple of questions relating to this. One from Darren is, are you as a player relieved to finally have that story off of POG's chest?
It's a really good question because of the clarification at the first half. As a player, no, I am not. It's fun to have it out there. But I saw... Philip and I did not talk about that this was going to happen. There was no, hey, you're going to be out on how you got here. And so when I realized the direction that he was taking the scene and how I was going to have to determine if this was the moment, I started to really hesitate because of the fact that this isn't a game that takes place at a table. This takes place for our entertainment and then for the entertainment of sharing. And so there was a lot of anxiety that kind of just fell over me as I made that decision of like, okay, well, I hope every decision that I've made for the last 2 years lives up to who I'm saying this person comes from, which is a lot of anxiety. Today, I feel a little bit better. It's nice because some actions I think will be a little easier for me to explain as a player, as a character, as the player of the character. It's way easier to be able to be like, hey, now the secret's not all the secret, you know, like that's once it's out, it can start to be fully out. and Philip playing Solarka with so much grace in that moment was a really fun thing to do. It was something I thought a lot about for maybe the first 4 months that we played. And I can confidently say that I have not thought about Pog's backstory since Ari came back from the Forgotten Prince. When I was just like, cool, everything's handled now. And I just kind of assumed I was going to stay the person who had never talked about it. So yeah, it's not a relief. It's exciting though. It opens up some new avenues and allows for some more depth, which I'm very happy with the way we've been able to progress for Pog as a character.
It's funny. I wonder if you remember, we actually in a pretty early episode, I had told you to be ready to talk about your backstory because I had a scene in mind where we were going to do a flashback.
Oh, that's right.
And kind of role play out what had happened. And it was one of the early, it was like right after the Donabella stuff, very early. And Pog there had just been a sort of group meeting and it had ended in tension and Pog kind of storming off to his room. And what I had in mind was we were going to, zoom in onto Pog's room and Pog's thinking, and we're going to take it back there. But what happened instead was Shade came in and there was this really, really sweet kind of brother-sister conversation between the two of them. And I was like, nope, that has to be where that scene ends. That's such a great, pretty little moment. And so just let it go. And other than that, we've made a couple of sort of vague references to it. I kind of tagged you with it a little bit in the aftermath of the map heist when we're in an alley that's full of fire and everything like that. But yeah, it kind of gotten onto the back burner as I'd waited for a place, and I'm really glad we waited because I liked this being not a Colin shares it in flashback and we get that. Right. I really liked it getting to be a moment that Pog decides to share with someone because it matters as a show of intimacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I liked that a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Laura had a follow-up question to Darren's. Are you happy you emotionally destroyed everyone?
Sorry. I appreciate anyone who felt anything because your investment in the show and the character means a whole lot. So I guess in a way, yes, because that means there was resonance and there was care. Also, anyone, myself included, that enjoy Pog, we enjoy him today. And and Laura, you watch the stream, you know that I don't get to like me today if it's not for all the bad stuff in the past. So, yeah, you get to see where the man comes from. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think so. That means you cared. It wasn't my intention though.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun to play across from you in a very emotional moment. We do occasionally get really deep emotional moments with Pog, but a lot of times when we're playing with Pog, it's kind of goofy and silly, and I enjoy that too. Mm-hmm. But it's fun when it becomes a little more somber, and I enjoyed getting another of those moments. One of those moments with you. It's fun.
I think that's an aspect of our relationship in real life playing over. We have years of playing theater games together and, freestyling, making each other laugh. But then you understood from the outset that there was going to be an intelligence to Pog that most people wouldn't see, which is kind of a great explanation for the friendship we had in college of like, yeah, there's more than he presents, I assure you, even if I'm one of 3 people that know it. So yeah, it's always fun to play into those with you.
I figured that out about you. It was not, I mean, so arriving at college, I immediately knew you were cooler than me. But no, that was definitely true.
He had more swords.
That's
more swords.
That's true. The hair ratio on Colin was precisely opposite when I met him in college. He had long hair on top and clean shaven. And I had a really bad goatee. But
that thing was something.
Second or third year, I don't remember. You gave me a ride home for Thanksgiving one time on your way home because it was down the same highway. And 3-ish hours of talking in the car is where I was like, oh, okay, I see where there's more to Colin than previously known to me. So there you go. So yes.
Yep. That's us. That's us. That was a great ride, man.
That was a lot of fun. Emily would like to know, for both of us, have you ever been caught in an earthquake? And if so, how large was it?
I don't think caught is the right word. I've experienced 2 very small earthquakes. One when I was living in Oklahoma, and there was a guy in like the neighborhood over from me who fell off the ladder that he was on at the time, and had to get taken to the hospital for a broken arm. But it was like, it slid my Xbox remote off of my coffee table. That's as serious as it was. And the other one was actually here in San Antonio within the last year. And I wouldn't have known that it had happened if Cortana hadn't started like growling and grumbling and stood up. And she's old, so it takes a lot of work for her to stand up. And then it was like, I thought I had lost my balance for a second, and then it was over.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start getting Texas text messages, which are like, anything out of the ordinary is the end of the actual world.
The one that you were in Oklahoma, I was down here in Texas, and I felt that one very slightly because I was sitting in my living room talking to someone, and I saw the TV just sort of wobble, and felt it. We were on the 3rd floor of an apartment, and so felt it, but that was it. Like, nothing even fell over. Car alarms didn't go off or anything. It was extremely mild. So no. And I really appreciate the comments, Emily, that the earthquake in the episode was suitably terrifying, or alarming, for, I think for me, at least. The thing I was channeling was, footage of 9/11. Like that was what it was for me. It was the images of from news reporters on the ground of just this massive wall of white dust just rolling in, and then darkness was very much the picture in my head when I was trying to describe it, because that was experience. I having never been anywhere near the center of a substantial earthquake, I had no experiential frame of reference, but some of those images have just been stuck on my mind since I was, in 10th grade when it happened. And that was more the frame of reference for me, but I'm really glad it worked. It did feel good. I feel like the music track I found was a very big part of why it worked.
That hit, man. Good choice.
Monument Studios, Crossing Swords by Monument Studios. I've used it for combat scenes before, but it worked really well for this scene.
Yeah, it did. It was heightened.
So I'm glad that it worked. But no, I have not ever been anywhere near the center of an earthquake, let alone in a large one. Colin, Emily would like to know, given that Pip was nominated most likely student to pick up the cursed sword, how much fun do you think it would have been to play Pip as a vampire?
Was there a poll? Is that what's going to get written in his yearbook prize? Most likely to pick up a cursed sword, because it's true.
It's in the trivia section on the wiki.
It's true. He absolutely would. How much would I have enjoyed? I'll be honest. After we completed Ari's Nightwalker arc, I was like, man, that would be really fun. Eric just got to have a really good time playing so much subversion and a change of abilities, and like there was a genuine no hostility player envy of like, oh, that must have been a blast. Like, you just had so much subterfuge, and what a cool experience. And I don't think I have yet made a character that would be fun to play like that. I don't think Pip would be a very fun vampire. Because in the limited childlike innocence way, we know that he's a kid from the streets and he wants to survive and he'll do what he needs to. But he's kind of Pog's target demographic for fandom of loves the idea of glory, loves the idea of, the adventures. But there's not a part of Pip that's ever been interested in hurting somebody. And that is not what we saw with the responsibility given to you by the blade. So I think it would have been very painful, and it would have required an awful lot of internal struggle, because I don't know what effects Eric or Ari went under, how much of Ari was there fighting, if he was trapped inside fighting for his own free will. But Pip would not have a good time killing someone in a back alley. That would not be enjoyable to him.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been very sad.
I agree. I think it would have been very sad to have it happen to any of the kids, because it would have been... It's a really fine line for me. Like, how much danger is it fun to put the kids in?
Mm-hmm.
I realized that this was not low danger, but I really enjoyed them running from the monster in the first episode where we had the kids. Like, that felt very fun. It felt very comic book. It felt very comic book because I know the heroes will arrive in the right time to rescue the kids, and it's going to be great. So that felt very fun. But yeah, I think putting them in a really dangerous situation would be less fun to DM. But I would enjoy hearing Pip's voice say really sinister things. Like, that would be right really fun
with this cold that I have. But man, that would be like the exact opposite of a Liam Neeson. Like a helium-filled Liam Neeson. I think there's also an important thing in the difference of what we had in the catacombs, where if someone would have died there, it would have been one of us. Yeah. Like, the kids were always good. This wasn't Stranger Things. Like, there were capable, competent, mostly competent adults around. I don't know that we've ever been the most competent people in a room, even if it's filled with killer bugs. But yeah, I mean, the kids were in, I don't know how else to describe it. Fantasy world, it works. They were in fun danger. They weren't in critical danger. And I don't know, man. I think Pip would either become the absolute vampire overlord and just fully surrender into his dark side, or would probably just take off, which would be very sad, because he's just starting to get people. Why do I play such lonely characters? That's a problem. I'm going to have to play my next character as like a hippie commune leader. He's just surrounded by people, like a less murder instruction giving Charles Manson, just someone that everyone comes and stays at my farm. That's my next character. I'm sure there's some more healthy example than Charles Manson.
It's gotta be.
But him with a vampire sword.
Oof, that's terrifying.
Now I'm in.
Nathan asked a couple of questions about POG and Solarka. Nathan asks, is Pog's relationship with Solarka helping Colin in his real life relationship?
Not as much as you might think. I don't take nearly as many dangerous trips as you might expect that I forget to tell my lovely girlfriend about. You know what's interesting is it might actually be the converse, because it's been a while since I've started a new relationship, and this is probably the most healthy origin to an adult relationship. And so there have been a lot of very adult, open conversations about who we are and how we got to where we are, and what we're looking for and what we need and what we won't accept. And so having come off of having so many of those recently, there was a real push from that for me to go, I mean, if Pog wants this, you got to get into it. Like, and that's why the word choice was like, I can't say I'm never going to do it. I'm not going to make a promise that I know I can't keep, but this is realistically what I want. It's who I want to be to you, and to have those open, healthy communications. And then Philip used my favorite word of all time earlier, the intimacy of that moment, for him to go, you know what? I'm going to let you know everything about me. I'm going to lay it all out, because I want you to be my teammate, my partner. The real life experiences I'm having definitely informed my decision there for, Pog's doing some growing these days. This last 3 months for Pog have been very, very structurally shaking, and he's doing a lot of evolving and a lot of maturing. So that's where that influence came, to just go all the way with it. Let's do it.
Awesome. Related, Laura inquires, how many more chances do you think you get with Solarka?
It's a real easy question to joke about, because I would say 0. Probably. She's done. I'm literally she's just pinching the end of the fuse. But honestly, I think that Philip has played, and I may be misreading this, I feel like Philip has played a very realistic version of some of the females that I have had in my life, of this slow acceptance of there's not ill intent, and it's not anything that is meant to be hurtful. And what can I accept as a character flaw, and what is a relationship vice? What is a wrench in our gears? And Pog coming back hat in hand. This was wrong. I didn't mean for it to be this way. Philip is giving me a Solarka that is very much figuring out if the broken Pog can fit into her life, if she wants that, as opposed to the ultimatum giving, you have to change who you are if you want anything to do with me. So how many more chances? Depends on if they're new mistakes, is my answer. Hopefully not a small number, because Pog and I are kind of dumb. We don't mess up again. This is going to happen.
I enjoyed the comedic choice you made in a very serious, relational moment. I enjoyed the comedic choice you made to buy an entire cart of flowers.
That was always the plan. Yeah.
That caught me entirely off guard. Was like, what's he gonna, give me a value just so I have an idea of what you deduct and what I can describe, and just going absurdly overboard.
Yep.
Was deeply funny and very Pog.
Yeah.
And not, it made the scene, I don't know, it changed it changed what the soundtrack of the scene was into my head. Like it just the scene became kind of goofier. Like the initial scene of Pog arriving became a little bit lighter with that, and didn't really alter the way I had in mind that Solarka was going to be prepared to receive you. I have in my mind for this scene that Solarka likes Pog and she wants this to work. And so she wants to hear something that is acceptable from Pog. And so Pog coming back and not really offering like excuses, just into an apology. And I liked that. Like that just worked. And it made it just feel right. Not an okay, fine, everything's okay now.
Right.
But okay, the door is open. Now you explain everything. Like now I'm going to hear what you have to say, and not just slam the door in your face. So the way that you had Pog come into it, I liked that there was a lighthearted element to it with the flowers, but also Pog came into it without any kind of like, I'm owed a second chance or whatever chance number we're on. Just I screwed up. I'm sorry about it. I can't make it not have happened. What can I do? Like that. I feel like that was a pretty good apology. Pog fumbling in a very Pog way, but earnest. I think that's the winning quality of Pog, is just earnest.
It had been a couple months of play between whoever it was at the table first going, and you didn't tell Solarka, and us playing this scene. So Colin had a lot of thinking about this. The idea behind the flowers was always something that I was always going to lead Eric into having Ari advise, because it's not something that Pog would have thought of. I thought it was funny. And then the thought was, what's the Pog version of the standard way to do something? And then just go in with naked honesty. Like, hey, I brought you flowers because people said that we're supposed to bring flowers. I hope this is enough because of this big sorry, but also then just, this is it. And the words be Pog, and then the gesture be a Pog version of the advice that I knew Ari would give to Pog.
Well, and it was it was fun to me because it felt it set up Solarka to be like, no, bring the cart.
Yep.
To have Pog dragging this giant cart behind him as she goes to lunch. Like, it's just, I don't know. It set up. I felt like that very much felt right for the relationship that they have, because she's obviously further along in emotional maturity than Pog. Like, she's obviously got a better handle on a relationship and likes Pog for Pog, but Pog is working on it.
Yeah. But it's also, this is one of those things that realistically I can verify. As a male, you don't recognize how immature you are until confronted with someone who is mature, and you go, oh, I didn't look at the other ducks that aren't in a row. I was only focusing on the couple that I was like, hey, cool. It's feeling like I had things together.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Laura would also like to know, returning to the question of Pip as a vampire, if Pip was a vampire, would it make him like bats at least? I assume this is a reference to Pip being allergic to cats.
No, I don't know at what point I played Pip as though he is an animal hater that Laura's just beating me up with. But I don't feel like there's a large bat population inside the city limits of Stormreach. Like, that would probably be something that was pretty new to Pip. And not having formal education before he got to Grey Malkin. I doubt we've covered bat studies at this point in his short time there. So there would be, I mean, I think they're cute, but that's because I'm a grown-up who knows what they are. If you were a street urchin child who had only recently gotten a bed, they would be pretty off-putting, I'd imagine. Especially if you saw them also, in the middle of the night after having just wanted to start eating people.
Also, I think they're cute in a very specific context. I think they're really cute behind glass at a zoo. And I think they're really cute when I know exactly where they are and I can look at them. But the idea of, I like bats. They're cool. And I know they're really good for everything. And I know they're not particularly dangerous to me. But the idea of a bat flying suddenly towards me out of nowhere, I know exactly how I would respond, and it would be precisely like a person responds when they walk through a spider web.
Yeah. Because the way Laura sells that question, I assume that if Pip becomes a vampire, he just will all of a sudden have like seven bats that just appear and go, "Oh, hi, we work for you." In which case, he's going to be flailing his arms and running. Because that would be a startling thing to just have happen.
And just now, Mia gets her questions in under the wire. Mia. Some of them we've talked about. Hey, Mia. Mia asked, were you expecting the deep dive conversation with Solarka? Were you prepared for the bomb drop on the origin story to just hit? And we kind of covered that at the beginning, that you were not. You were not expecting that until partway through the conversation when you figured out what I'm doing.
Oh, no. Gulp.
And then Mia says, and I don't know much, if anything, about the Echo Knight class, so I've been dying to know what happened to your ghost spirit friend after he grabbed the sword and was dispatched.
That I will interrupt before he gets there because I can't give you an answer. We've said on here before that Philip and I have a abnormal DM PC relationship of a lot of things I have set up to be revealed to POG by him, like the Silver Flame. I had no idea that there was ever going to be a connection to that there would be ancestral link of any kind to anything outside of me choosing the class. I don't know who he's putting in these situations from a character standpoint. So to be honest with you, when I was preparing to level up and wanted to take that class, I had to talk to Philip. Like, I think this can work flavor wise, but I don't know where you're taking me. And he, in classic Philip, just goes, cool. Yeah, that'd be real cool. That could totally work. I don't know who he is. I don't know who the Echo Knight is. I don't know where he comes from. So when he is dispatched or he is defeated, I don't know where he goes. I don't know if it's the same one every time. I don't know any of this. There's a chance that I'm like the worst version of Mulan ever, and I'm destroying all of my ancestors one at a time, and I'm about to be the only in my bloodline. I don't have any idea what's happening here, and I love it, but I don't have an answer.
So I am imagining, and we haven't had an occasion to establish it in character. We've established that there's been a couple of weeks, and I'm imagining that POG is kind of You know, when you know something's wrong, but you're kind of on the point of, if I don't poke at what's probably wrong, I won't confirm that it's wrong.
That's why I don't go to the doctor.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I'm kind of imagining that's where Pog is with the Echo Knight right now. That Pog saw what went wrong, but he has no idea what's going to happen the next time he summons it, and is real worried about it, but worried in a state of, better I just don't try until I need to.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have, as of this moment, not seen the Echo Knight in game before. I know what's going on, but I'm not going to tell you.
Can you? I don't know if you will. Is the Echo Knight it's an entity, like an individual entity, right? Is that the same entity that is my spirit shield?
Yes. That is my intention. Yeah. That the Echo Knight is connected to the spirit shield, is connected to the ancestral path of the barbarian class that you took. Because I liked the idea that we've seen this figure that kind of appears to protect Pog, to protect others, to strengthen Pog in battle. And I liked the idea, especially with you taking the Echo Knight later on, once you'd gotten a bunch of the barbarian path stuff already, of this being an expansion of that, of now it can take form in a more solid way, take form more distinctly from Pog. And it's also becoming visible to Pog instead of, early on it was just visible to Ezri because Ezri has the weird thing. And so now becoming visible to Pog, that kind of thing. So I know what it is, and there are perhaps a handful of our viewers who get real deep into Eberron lore and pay crazy close attention to the things that I say. And when I say crazy close, I mean just very close. I don't mean that in any kind of disparaging way. Pay really close attention to the things that I say, maybe have figured it out. But yeah, we haven't established precisely who Pog is interacting with in the Echo Knight. And we have no idea what became of the Echo Knight after it picked up the sword.
I'm so ready to play D&D right now. I do not want to go work 10 and a half hours at a restaurant. I want to play D&D right now.
Me too. I think we've got about a week, though. So,
Con.
So, make your schedule so that next Wednesday you have lots of time to play D&D.
At that point, it's not my schedule. If I say we start at 2:00, you grown-ups need to do it.
That's fair. Well, that is our last question. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you all so much for the questions. We love this. We love getting the into the depth of the character backgrounds. It's always fun to talk with my players about their characters. So thank you all so much. This has been Khyber Shards. New episodes drop every Monday. New Khyber Shards answers every Friday. You find links to all of our socials down in the description, as well as a link to Colin's Twitch, where he is sorry, BTR. The O is a 0. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.